What's up, everybody? Mr. Right Way here, and I got a special guest. I drove all the way to Buffalo to meet Mystic Ryan. This guy, if you have not visited this channel, this is the PlayStation guru. He loves PlayStation more than me, and this guy knows everything. You've been following PlayStation for the last, what?
Professionally, 4 years.
4 years?
YouTube, 12 years. And then the rest of it's just kind of a lifelong
Thing,
basically, yeah.
Yeah, do you remember your first PlayStation memory?
Yeah.
What was it?
Tekken 3.
Oh my
the original
god.
PlayStation.
Tekken 3 is so good.
Yeah, it brought out the worst in me as a young kid.
Really?
Yeah, because I was kind of angry. Law would always mess me
This
up.
is how we started out the
Law
video.
would always mess me up big time, but loved Eddie Gordo.
Okay.
And then I somehow, ironically, fell out of fighting games. But I stuck with gaming and consoles and...
I love Tekken because King is my guy. I love King. Well, y'all know I like
King too.
Because I like wrestling, but King was just so cool. But he was just that perfect mix. He had like Mario stats, you know, like if you thought about like, you know, Mario got average all the board, you know, all through. King is kind of like that, average all the way through. He's not the best, he's not the great, but if he catches you, it's over.
Pretty much, yeah. I like the way King looked.
Yes.
But in terms of gameplay, I was more conducive to Eddie.
Okay, Eddie
And that
is great.
string where he could just like do that crazy
He's so
capoeira.
cheap. Oh, he's so cheap.
But I needed him.
But today we're here to talk about why you should buy a PlayStation 4 in 2023. And Mystic Ryan is the perfect person to talk about this. I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. You guys know I love PlayStation, doing the PlayStation Pursuit. We talked about the PlayStation 3 with Cooper. If you haven't seen that, go on the channel, look at that video. It's doing really well. Thank y'all for watching. First, we're going to talk about the models. First, we have the PlayStation 4 and a Pro. So you got the
standard model.
Standard model. You had this since launch, and then it came out the Pro. Let's talk about the PlayStation 4 standard model first. Now, why do you think this one is good to get right now for people who haven't bought one? Because there's still some people out there who haven't bought a PlayStation 4.
That's true. That's true. And there's still a lot of utility to it for many years to come. Primarily, it's also largely, because I feel like this is still a pretty big misnomer when it comes to game collecting and definitely physical video games. It is still an entirely offline console. You could, in theory, you don't have to connect online.
That's good.
You can install discs without internet. And there's going to be a lot of utility for that for years to come, no matter where you are, no matter where you live, no matter how much or how little internet you may have.
Yeah.
Great starting price. I mean, I feel like right now in terms of the secondhand market, you got to be a little picky on where you buy them from.
Yeah, because like
they could go for a little over $200. That seems a bit pricey for, you know, given I guess where we are right now during the PlayStation 5 cycle. Because in theory, the number one argument is simply that you could buy PlayStation 4 games, but play them on a PlayStation 5.
But a lot of people don't want to spend what $550 now for a PlayStation 5. But as people who watch my channel, I always tell people to go like Goodwill's, pawn shops, even GameStop now is starting to lower the prices on like models. Even the PS4 Pro model, which is different variations of these. Actually, I just found a Last of Us PlayStation 4 model. $250. $250.
Was that the part 2 one?
The part 2 one.
Okay, all right.
But the controller,
it's a nice looking machine.
I know, right? It's so. If I got it by this video, I'll insert it right here, guys. But yeah, it's $250. Now let's talk about the Pro model. Now, the Pro model is a step up, which I love this version of PlayStation 4. I think this is like this is my top 3. Like, I love the PlayStation 4 Pro. It's so good. It's so good. But tell the people out there, why is it so good, and why is it you might want to get this over the standard model?
I think it's a good compromise, right? If you're looking for higher resolutions, you're going to get it on PS4 Pro. Some of these games, some of the later lifecycle ones, so we're talking 2016 and up, where the initial PS4 Pro support started coming in, they still look really crisp. Really nice, especially for the HDR support. Right off the bat, you're getting a richer color palette on those games. But I mean, it truly is that sort of half step, right? As an incremental console, it's not quite committing to the sort of the pricing and everything of PlayStation 5, but you are getting some really nice stuff with, especially first party. Where in particular, they're always going to utilize hardware the best.
And we're going to talk about those games soon.
They're always the best showcase for, in the example of PlayStation 4 Pro, a lot of those games, Spider-Man, Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima, those later lifecycle games, Horizon Zero Dawn, they all look really great on PlayStation 4 Pro. Even some of these cross-generation titles with Ragnarok and Forbidden West as well. Yeah. They still look fantastic.
Now, in this area, we're like in the Buffalo area, but I stay in Dallas. What's the price difference? What do you see like a PlayStation 4 Pro like on the secondhand market, like Facebook Marketplace, pawn shops, even maybe Goodwills if they even have them sometimes. That's a rare occurrence. But what do you see? Because that's what people talk about. Like, I'm in Dallas, I see a little cheaper prices sometimes, but when you get like California, New York, that kind of area, they tend to be a little higher. So what the prices are we looking for in this area?
Yeah, I'd say that they're sitting at about market price. Okay. At least if you were to sort of benchmark it on price charting or recently sold listings on eBay, they do tend to go for around that amount here. Okay. But it's, as you say, if you know where to look and if you are diligent in finding a decent price, you can certainly get it for less.
Yeah, you can.
Especially if you're doing local pickups and things like that. If you want to check in on somebody, hey, would you take this amount? Chances are they're just looking to get rid of it. I feel like pictures are always a good indicator, right? Yeah. If they're not taking like these high quality pictures, if they're just kind of thrown about with wires and cables, they're tucked into a corner somewhere, and they're looking to.
And it's dirty and dusty.
Yeah, you give them a number, they might just take it.
Yeah, they might take it. Just always ask for deals, guys. The PS4 and the PS4 Pro, like, they are great. We're gonna talk about the good games later on in just a minute. But another thing too, I kind of talked about is the special consoles, like different, like Last of Us, the SpiderMan, which is I still want one of SpiderMan 4 Pro consoles. Oh, it's so good. Even the 20th anniversary, that's a PS4, or the 500 million edition, which I have that one. The PS4 Pro.
The Days of Play one is a really gorgeous popular, looking, really nice looking console.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. We don't get to see right now. PlayStation is really not doing special systems. They're doing special plates, which now
that's even far and few between, if we're being honest.
I know, right? But even the PlayStation 4 does special plates that a lot of people don't know about. You can take the little cover plate off the PlayStation 4, and you can customize your PlayStation 4 to your liking. You can go on just type in PlayStation 4 cover, and you'll see so many different covers. Just pop that off, and then you can customize it. Or say you get a PlayStation 4 really cheap, and you want a bigger hard drive, it's easy to put hard drives in these systems.
Very easy.
And that's another thing people don't know about. You might get a dusty, ugly PlayStation. Hey, put a nice skin on it, or it's so customized. That's what I do like about the PlayStation 4. The Pro. The Pro is not really customizable, but the PlayStation 4 original is super customizable.
Yeah, that top panel that comes off. There's that top panel right there, which original launch SKUs had a glossy black plastic. Okay. Now I like that, but on the secondhand market, they are disgusting. Oh, they're beat up. They're super scratched up. You can take a plastic polisher and usually try and clean that up. Really? Bit. It does come out better than you would think. It won't be perfect.
Is it like the PlayStation 3 kind of plastic?
Basically, yeah. Okay. It's a very you'll get micro scratches almost immediately on it. Yeah. So secondhand market consoles look rough. Yeah. But you could get that. Then there's still this principally the same chassis design is the same, but then that top panel where the HDD bay is under, that'll be like a matte plastic.
You know what I think?
That would be better too.
This is like going to Wendy's. You get a double or a triple. This is a double right here, and this is a triple.
That's a triple right there.
You get a triple
Baconator.
Hey, triple Baconator on the PS4.
Still delicious.
It's still delicious, still good. Depending on the day you get it, you gotta make sure they cook it fresh, because I just went to Wendy's here. The outside of the edges of the burger, oh my God, I was so mad. I just ate the middle part, y'all. I'm sorry, I like food. I know I like food, and I like Wendy's. I always get my stuff fresh. I say no salt in the fries. But anyway, we're not talking about food. We're talking about PlayStation. But let's talk about the games. Now, we have selected 10 games. You got 5 and I got 5. Great games. This is going to be a mix of PlayStation games and also some VR. Now, I told you about the VR. This is a great time to get a VR. I made a video on it. Why you should get the VR 1. Don't mess with the VR 2. I don't know how you feel about that, but that could be another video. The VR 1 still has so many good physical games. We're talking about physical games. Physical games right now are super cheap. are super affordable. You can go in GameStop right now. Sometimes they have deals like you get 4 for 10 or 4 for like 20 or 4 for 40, different type of games, stuff like that. And you can just clean up. Pawn shops. I see games no more than $10. Like you can pawn shops, garage sales. I got a stack of PlayStation 4 games for like $40, and it was like about 25 games. I was like, wow. And some of those games were kind of sports, but you can like always like sell those or trade those to somebody else. A lot of people like sports games. They're not bad on there. Show us what games we should get right now.
Well,
that you'd be looking out for.
Yeah, sticking with at least starting off with PlayStation VR 1.
Okay.
So at least when we're talking about games that are probably not going to get a native port on PSVR 2,
okay,
because we are in that it's like another cross-gen situation. A lot of things have got native PSVR 2 versions. Although the caveat there is, as a collector wanting physical games, PSVR 2 is not seeing many physical prints.
No.
That's an entirely separate conversation. But if we're talking about games that are likely not going to leave the original PlayStation VR, I think Dirocine is one of them.
That's a cheap game. I seen that.
It's pretty affordable, yeah.
I seen it for like about $10 now.
Yeah, and it's a collaboration between Japan Studio and From Software.
Okay.
So I feel like
From Software.
Yeah, this always throws people off when they hear about this game. They're like, FromSoft, because FromSoft does all these very quirky, different, unique things. And
is it difficult?
No, it's very much a passive VR experience.
Okay.
You're basically just kind of acting as a sort of it's like almost like a weird point of view. You're watching scenarios play out in front of you without, I guess, giving away too much, because it's always one of those games where if it's heavily narrative or story based, I don't like to say too much.
Okay.
But it's very voyeuristic, I guess. From a VR perspective, you're supposed to watch from the sidelines and watch a story play out, but you can sort of intervene from a first person perspective.
Is it kind of like Ghost Trick a little bit?
Maybe, yeah.
Kind of Ghost Trickish a little bit?
Yeah, it's actually not a bad comparable, I would say.
Okay, because on Ghost Trick you can like do the same thing, but not the same thing. But you have to go back and use your ghost as files.
Sure, yeah. It's kind of like it's got like ghostly sort of aspects to it.
Okay.
It's a short experience too. I mean, we're talking about a 4 or 5 hour thing, which for me, I love that for VR. Mm-hmm. It does tend to be a criticism of VR experiences, but I find that if I can play something for 4 or 5 hours and get the whole thing, it feels like a fun bite-sized experience, and I just cannot see this game going to PlayStation VR 2.
Well, the next game, and you haven't opened this one, but I love this game.
Yeah.
This is an adult game. Do not let your children play this game. Please. Trover Saves the Universe. Oh, this by the makers of Rick and Morty. Guys, I'm not gonna put no audio of this, but play this game. It's about Trover.
He may or may not save the universe.
Yes, but it's language. It's partial something nudity. If you know Rick and Morty, then you know this game.
You gotta like the humor of it, though.
The humor is great. Oh, the humor is.
I get fun out of it.
I love it. I
think
love
it's enjoyable.
And also, if you have not seen T-Pain's video with this, go look it up. I'll link it down below.
T-Pain's got something going on with this game?
He got some video. I gotta show it to you.
But what's going on with T-Pain in this game?
Okay,
is he in it?
No, he's not in the game.
Oh, okay.
He just did like a commercial for the game.
Okay.
You gotta watch it. It's one of the greatest commercials ever for a video game, and I'll let you see it later. But let's go to your next game.
Geez.
What you gonna pick up?
Concrete Genie. I'll just go right into this as well. So,
okay.
Because it's kind of going into VR stuff. Although it's only got a PlayStation VR mode, which I still kind of like. Just something that if you've got a VR headset, it's an additional little piece of content.
Yeah, and also you don't need a VR to play Trover either.
Yeah.
If you got a
the
VR,
little banners, you can always tell.
Yeah, but if you can play this game without the VR, it's still good. Trust me, it's good. But
Concrete Genie, though, so I played this during the last 30 Platinums video that I did back in 2021. That was 30 Platinums Part 2. And it's such a enjoyable, artistically approached, very cute game with a sort of feel-good, honest story and it's another weekend-style game. I mean, you can get it done in about 8 hours, so I feel like if you're pressed for time, I mean, this is like a great play it on Saturday, finish it by Monday kind of thing.
Nice.
And I was tearing up near the end of this game. I was like,
really?
oh my god, this is so adorable and sweet. And It's also something where Sony has unfortunately closed Pixel Opus as a studio.
So that game could rise in value one day. Just not saying it will, but you know how delisted games do.
Yeah, I feel like if that day were to ever come, it would probably be a very long time from now. I don't anticipate it, but I still find that it's a very cool thing to have on disc.
Here's one of my favorite games on the PS4, and it has a PlayStation Hits, which I have it, but Infamous Second Son. Oh my gosh. This game, when it first came out, it came out like from the second year of the PlayStation.
2014.
Yes. Oh, but it's so good. It's by Sucker Punch. It kind of reminds me of SpiderMan a little bit too. You know, the powers and stuff, and just basically the hero here, he's going against the corporation and he gets all these kind of powers and stuff. But the way you build your powers up and over the game, and you constantly leveling it up, it feels so fresh. Even now in 2023, that game is so good. The acting's good, the dialogue, the graphics still hold up. It is a game that's affordable. It's like under $20 you can get. It's so good. I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting goosebumps when thinking about this game. It's so good. It is so good. Please buy that game. Yeah. It's affordable. Because when people start like recognizing how good this game is, I always hate when I see games like increase in value, especially like games you could have had the chance to get. That's why I'm trying to make this video and let people know that get these PS4 games now, because a lot of people, the attention is on PS5 and Xbox and all this kind of stuff.
It's a good time to buy.
Yeah,
a lot of software is relatively cheap. I find that a lot of it will probably stay in that price range, but there's still like these sort of niche things here and there that are going to hold their values pretty well and slowly climb eventually. But for the time being, I mean, it's as you say, like a lot of stores are liquidating PlayStation 4 stuff. A lot of families that are done with PlayStation 4, you know, throwing it up on Marketplace and things like that.
Trying to get PS5 and stuff, and that's a perfect time to buy.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it you can get new too, you know. So.
What's your next game you're gonna pick out?
Wadham.
Now you tell me. I love the cover because it has sushi and wasabi, and I love sushi. Now tell me about this game. I never played it, but this is is it a strictly run game?
So this is by the
8-bit.
Well, I mean, IM8-bit did the physical publish.
Okay.
But Annapurna was involved. But this is from the creator of Katamari.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my God.
So I mean, right
now
off the bat,
I gotta buy it.
I mean, if you can see from like the
yeah,
I mean, that's Katamari right there.
Yeah, it's
quintessential design language. But I mean, they say don't judge a book by its cover, but please do, because I think this cover's hilarious. There's three different covers if you're looking for this particular game. So there's a.
You got this digitally too, don't you?
Yes.
Okay.
Which is why I'm keeping that sealed.
Yeah, keeping that sealed. Yeah.
No, don't have to, but
nah.
It's just. How do you even describe these games if nobody's like played them before? I mean, Katamari I think is kind of well known.
Yeah.
But for
his dad's a jackass. Though.
Yeah. Wadham is very. It's of that creator's sort of mindset, you know. So I guess the basic synopsis here is you're the town mayor, and
is it kind of like Loco Roco too?
No, it's
the animation style.
Well, I mean the animation style is Katamari, but I wish I could describe what the hell you're doing in this game, but it's just so.
I'm putting gameplay up here,
weird.
Guys, so you can see it. But yeah, that's one of those.
It's quirky. It's if you're into that kind of stuff, you cannot go wrong with it.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna get a game. We're gonna talk about this one quick because everybody's played it. But if you have not played it, why have you not played SpiderMan already? One of the best games. I would say now, probably top 10 PlayStation games of all time.
I wouldn't put it. Yeah,
would you put it top 10?
That's a reasonable assessment.
Or top 25.
I'll do you one better. I think what's a really safe bet. It's one of the best superhero video games.
Yes, it is.
Which it kind of goes. I mean, I guess for a lot of people, it tends to fall on Spider-Man or one of the Batman entries.
Yes. Okay, Spider-Man.
Which
Batman.
I think is fair.
I think Spider-Man is probably. I'm a Spider-Man fan. I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man is like my number one superhero because photographer. You know, just the stories are just aligned. I grew up. I love this right here. Spider-Man is good. If you haven't played Spider-Man,
great on a PS4 Pro too.
Oh.
Doesn't have to be on PlayStation 5. The first party stuff, just because I always like vouching for something like Medieval.
Yes, the remake is awesome. Oh, it's so good. Came out on the PS1. The PS2, Medieval 2 was okay, but number 1 was so different. And then they went back and remade it. Why do you like it?
That's what I find so noteworthy about it is that it was remade, and this was from a time where SIE was still doing stuff like this. Not to get into sort of a separate thing that the PlayStation community I've seen in recent years has been sort of up in arms about is just Sony's approach to certain games, and the things that they fund and things like that. Now, I mean, look, there's something to be said there, but it very much is like the medieval remake is a byproduct of what we have now. Is we're not going to get something like that ever again.
Okay.
Or at least not for the foreseeable future. I mean,
we'll get more Last of Us.
But
no.
What I love about this remake is that when it came out, there was like the reviews were still like, yeah, but this still plays bad, and I'm like, no, it plays like a PS1 game.
Yes.
Because the gameplay was not really touched.
No.
It's very clunky with Sir Dan, running around swiping swords, and you can take hits pretty easy because it's just that sort of.
That's PS1. That's how it was in PS1 era.
It's a weird modern PlayStation 1 game that I think is really cool. And it's like a great game to play during October, right? It's Halloween themed, and another really cool thing about this game is that it has a lot of unique enemy models. So there's like 50-something completely unique, separate enemy models, which a lot of games tend to like reskin something that you might see like during level 1 or mission 1, then you'll see like a different colored version of it with a higher level. In the late game. But no, this game, they kind of throw all these different things at you that you've never seen before, which I always found noteworthy about it.
I'm going to go with this. I'm going to say the other one last. You probably want to know what the other one last. This one, Horizon Zero Dawn. Only thing I say about these games is they picked the worst time to drop these games. They always drop this game or these games around the release of a bigger game. And I'm like, why do you do that? Stop it. Just hold it off. The next Horizon game, just make sure nothing else huge is coming out. Nothing. Like, I don't know why, but the game is really good. The main protagonist, she is like freaking awesome.
I'll stand by Horizon. I've seen a lot of criticism against it lately, but just an awesome third-person action-adventure game that I find has a really great universe that I can get lost in pretty easily. And the sort of RPG elements, the light elements of it, because it's not like a full-blown role-playing game, but there's enough there that it's just, I don't know, it does a lot for me.
People who haven't played on the PlayStation platform, that's one of these games that you can get to them, and they're like, wow, this is on PlayStation, All right, your last game, and I got my last game. Now this one is...
Yeah, so this is where it's like kind of tough in terms of physical game recommendations.
Okay.
Because ideally you'd want to pick up things that are cheap, but Gravity Rush Remastered right now, still holding the value pretty well for the most part. It's not...
like it used to be.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of goes into the sort of COVID pricing where everything shot up, but we are now coming into a territory where things are leveling off a bit.
Okay.
And I've noticed that they've leveled off lower, but they haven't gone back to pre-COVID levels for a lot of games. So, I mean... Not
Godzilla. Godzilla's still going crazy.
There was a chance where you could have got Gravity Rush Remastered on clearance new from Amazon for $10-something. Those days are gone.
Yeah.
It shot up to 80, 90 at the very peak. Now it's like, around 40 to 50?
GameStop has a lot right now. At time of this video, probably $59.99.
Okay.
But you don't know if you're going to get a disc or you'll get a cover. You just don't know.
For what it's worth, I ordered 2 from GameStop, sight unseen, and I got this. I got 2 cases and box art and things like that. But
and they still in stores.
Normally, I wouldn't gamble though.
Ooh, I know.
I would make sure that I get the case and the box art if I'm going to be spending that much money on a used game. But having said that, Gravity Rush is another game that is from a time where Japan Studio was putting out sort of quirky, unique games that were just a little bit different or had this sort of gameplay mechanic that was centered around being, I guess, atypical with very much what it's called Gravity Rush.
Yeah.
Where you can sort of warp the entire perspective and shoot around and things like that. And also, I love the art style. It's just games that have a certain look to them. I tend to be drawn to them, and Gravity Rush is one of those games for sure. And you can't really go wrong if you do buy it and say pay the $50-something, $60 for it. I don't feel like it's going to really move that much, considering it is a low print, so there's not a lot of them going around. So when you're ready to offload it, you probably get back your money or most of it.
And my last game is Hannah Montana. No, I'm sorry. It's not Hannah Montana. We gonna be.
It was on the table though.
It was on the table. I know, like man. Hey,
I don't know who put
Hannah Montana. Y'all didn't expect that one. But here's one a lot of people overlook: the Wipeout collection.
Yeah, these games are fun.
Oh my goodness! And also, this has a VR mode. I'm telling you, the VR mode, you really do feel like you're in this cockpit. I mean, it takes you on a ride.
Gotta be good with motion sickness.
You do. You gotta be good.
It'll
with motion.
mess you up. So.
It will mess you up. But the Omega collection is so good. The music is good. The racing is good. The commentary, when the commentary's on there, is good. The battles on there are good. The cars, the power-ups. I mean, I love Wipeout since PlayStation 1. When the PlayStation 1 Wipeout came out, it was like something like mind-blowing. I remember having that controller that Namco controller.
Yeah.
It was like that twisty thing was, and it was like, oh my goodness. I'm like, it's a good experience. That kind of experience is what you see on the VR in a way.
Sure. Yeah. True.
So they brought that kind of back in the new age.
The music it plays a big role in it too.
The music is so good.
You really should like if you can play it with like nice headphones or something. Mm-hmm. You can sort of just like.
Well, get the soundtrack, which I got.
Yeah. Because I get when you're like doing tracks over and over again, and it can be hard too. It's like tough for some of the later races.
Yeah.
And you can like just get lost in it with that sort of let me just do another one kind of thing, another one, and when you got the music blasting and. I love where you can just like really just get yourself thrown into it and you just don't want to come out of it.
Okay. So guys, the last garage sale I went to, I got a PlayStation 4 and a headset for like $50. So it does happen. You can find these at garage sale and they work perfectly. I didn't need an extra one, but they are out there, like even the Pro model. But let's talk about some of the. So buying a PlayStation 4 in 2023 is a very good idea. Any last recommendations?
I would say third party in general.
Okay.
Is pretty affordable right now.
Yes.
A lot of just I don't want to say run of the mill stuff, but like I don't know, like if you're into a certain publisher or a certain franchise, look at some Ubisoft stuff, EA. Obviously things like 2K. I mean, there's just like a number of titles that all these publishers have put out, and I've seen broadly, not to sort of generalize the whole thing, but a lot of them are just they're in that $15, $20 price range.
And they won't stay there forever, guys. This is a good time to get those. Like going to GameStops, going to pawn shops, Facebook Marketplace, and if people still go to Craigslist, I don't even know that's still a thing, but if you still find those, and garage sales. They are great ways to build your library the cheap and the right way. I want to thank Mr. Ryan for joining me on the channel today. Now, if you haven't followed Mr. Ryan, he does a weekly PlayStation news video every Friday, but he does a lot of PlayStation content, history, gameplays, a lot of great stuff. If you haven't, y'all know this guy, so you know where he's at and stuff. But I just want to thank you, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me to in my own home to have this conversation with you.
I know, right? Thank you for inviting me to your home.
It was a pleasure talking with you, though. It was a lot of fun. And I mean, I could always talk about stuff like this.
Me too.
The runtime on this is pretty long, but I feel like we could have easily pulled off every game on that shelf and had something to say about it.
We could talk PlayStation all day long. I'm so happy to find somebody who loves PlayStation just as much as me. You know, I'm on the collector side, he's more on the history side, so it's great. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, make sure you share it. Always remember to do it the right way. See you next time, guys.
What an outro. Love that right way.